Check one, check two, since you know what to do. What's going on, family? Blessings, blessings, blessings. Day 18, it's your boy Pop, man. So excited to be here for another day. Looks like the evenings might be my shift for time as far as the time that I go live, until I kind of get myself back into the kind of get my body and my rest pattern back correct, and I can get back to coming to you in the mornings. But nonetheless, we here, and we going listen, deliver the value. So I hope that that you had a great day, and that this reaches you blessed and in good health and optimism, right? I know that sometimes as you look around and the things that are going on in our environment, in our society, in our world, sometimes we can get distracted and we can get discouraged. But my prayer is that we keep holding on, staying focused, and pressing on towards the mark of our high calling. So let's get right into it. Just house cleaning really quickly. I ask, I humbly ask that you that you subscribe to this channel, that you share this out. Do me a favor, go ahead and binge watch the episodes, all of the lives up to this particular point in time. We're in our fourth week, which is kind of crazy to think about, but nonetheless, we're here. And so every single day, except for day one, I've been sharing slides. So if you want the slides that I use in order to teach from, then you can most certainly hit me up in the comments and just let me know that you want the slide. Excuse me, that you want the slides, and I'm going to create a place where you'll be able to access them. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right into the proceedings on today. We got a really exciting, I think, a very necessary lesson today: how to analyze what's working. Right? Stop guessing, start growing. So we're going to be talking about how to read your analytics, what analytics are important to kind of focus on, what you should be really measuring in regards to your growth. These are going to be the things that we're going to be talking about today, because I think our analytics are something that are really underrated. We don't really look at our analytics, and plus on top of that, I believe multiple platforms. I know Instagram, I know TikTok, you have to have a well, actually on TikTok, I'm not sure if you have to have a business account, but I know on Instagram you have to have a business account in order to look at in-depth analytics. I believe either business or creator allows you to be able to, but a personal account doesn't afford you as much analytics as the other two forms of accounts. So that's something that you could look into, see what kind of, if you have just a personal account, or if you have a creator account or a business account on Instagram, because the amount of analytics that you have access to are going to vary based upon the what type of account you have. Okay, so nonetheless, and I believe it's similar with TikTok. But anyway, in order for us to be able to grow, in order for us to be able to know whether or not our content is sticking, whether it's working, it's imperative that we are looking at our analytics. Our analytics tell us a story of what our audience is doing and how our content is landing with them. So it is very important that we do not poo-poo away our analytics, but we actually learn not only how to look at them, but how to read them to know whether or not they're pointing us in the right direction, or if we're going in the right direction with our content, right? So the reason why I decided to take this live to delve into that is because I think we post, but because we don't know what, or because we don't necessarily take the time to analyze what we've posted, then we miss out on some key insights that can really inform us on how to work smarter and not harder. All right. And like we said, one of the main things that we're trying to do, or two things that we're trying to do, is one, stop overthinking, and two, not get burnt out, but still be able to show up confidently and consistently for our audience. All right? So let's get into it. So you're posting consistently, but you have no idea what's working. You're guessing, you're hoping, you're crossing your fingers, you're praying. You're praying that what you're posting actually works or it actually lands. And in essence, you're throwing stuff up against the wall in hopes that something sticks. But the reality of it is that that's not how it works. Now, initially, I'm definitely a believer in testing, testing, testing. Got to test out formats. Got to test out different subject matter. Got to test things out, right? Different ways and angles to approach your content or your message or your knowledge, expertise, and information. Trying different ways and different creative ways to convey your message in such a way that is attractive to your ideal audience. I'm down for that. However, that you can't always be testing. At some point in time, that testing has to turn into, okay, this worked, this didn't work. I'm grabbing what worked and I'm going to continue to duplicate it. So at some point in time, that testing, you're testing to a particular end. You're testing to get real feedback in regards to, or insight in regards to what it is that you're posting and how it is that it is translating to your audience. So if you're constantly testing but you're not analyzing, right, the data behind that testing, then you're just gonna be spinning your wheels. And this is why knowing your analytics and knowing your data is super duper important. Okay, because when you do, then you take the guesswork out of the equation. You're not just throwing stuff up against the wall hoping it sticks. You're taking away the hoping and the crossing the fingers because you'll have data driven results that tell you what you need to be posting. All right. So, meanwhile, you're ignoring your data. Okay. Your analytics are sitting there telling you exactly what's working and what's not, but you're not looking or you don't know what to look for. Okay. And that is that, no shade. I didn't know what to look for a very long time. Okay, so this is what we're going to get to the bottom of today. But here's the truth: you can't improve what you don't measure. Oh, that's a bar. That's a bar. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Okay, you can't improve what you don't measure. If you are unclear about the result that you're trying to get, then it's going to be very, very hard to gauge whether or not you're on track to get a particular result. And it's the same thing with your content. If we are not clear on what it is that we want our content to do, how we want it to perform, okay? Then we won't know kind of where to go. You it goes back to the old saying that when you shoot or you miss, right? 100% of the shots that you don't take, or you will never hit a target, particularly when you don't know what that target is, right? And so if you cannot grow what you don't measure, if you are if you are not tapped into what you're trying to accomplish, then any result will do. So we have to be intentional about about improving or using our analytics to be able to measure our success and the success of our posts so we can know what we need to improve upon. That is our target. Our analytics give us a target. Our analytics give us a overall view of what's actually happening in real time so we can now begin to pinpoint and target areas that need to be improved. We can pinpoint and target areas where we need to make adjustments. Okay? And this is the beauty of the analytics. This is the beauty of us studying and analyzing our analytics, right? Studying our analytics, because again, it opens our eyes to maybe some blind spots. It also puts us in position to work on the right things. Because shout out to my guy Lonzy. He said in one of his podcast episodes, he said that movement doesn't mean progress. And sometimes we confuse the two. Busy work doesn't necessarily mean good work or quality work. Just because you're busy doesn't necessarily mean that you're making any headway or you're actually moving the needle, right? And so when we study our analytics, then that it tells us or gives us the picture of what we need to change, what we need to work on. So we are actually working in tandem and in alignment with the right things in order to push our content forward, right? Push our visibility forward, our message forward. So it tells us or pinpoints what we need to work on so we can put our time, energy, and effort into working on that thing or those two or three things. So we're not just doing just to, for doing sake, but we are targeted in our approach. Okay? So your analytics tell you what's working so you could stop guessing and start testing. Okay? Right? This is very, very, very important. We want to take the guesswork out of our content. And like I said, we have a season of testing, but even in our season of testing, we're testing to try to find what works based upon our analytics, based upon our data, so that this way we can leverage that to make more of that type of content. And once we know what's working, then we can create a template that makes it super easy for us to continue to create the content that's working, right? And that accelerates our growth. That will accelerate our efficiency as well, because we'll be able to make more content within a designated period of time, because we know what works and we have a template to plug and play to help us to be able to create more content faster. Okay? All right. So, what metrics actually matter? Okay? So, vanity metrics, which are likes, follower count, views, even to some degree, don't obsess over those things. Those will fluctuate. All your analytics, for the most part, will fluctuate, but those are what we call vanity metrics. Okay? Those really don't move the needle too much on the bigger scheme of things. What you want to really pay attention to is your growth metrics. You want to pay attention to those. That's your saves, your shares, your comments, your DMs, your profile visits, your link clicks. Okay, because we'll focus on engagement, not just numbers. Okay, these metrics, your growth metrics, are super important because they tell the story of how your audience is interacting with your content. If you're getting those comments, those saves, those shares, people are visiting your profile, what that is a clear indication of is that people resonate with your message. People are resonating with that particular piece of content. And that is a blaring signal, a blaring indication, okay, indicator light flashing, screaming at you that this is the type of content that you need to continue to make. All right? If they're DMing you, if they're commenting, if they're following your call to action, if they are going to your profile, if you have a freebie or something like that, or a website that is in your bio, and they're clicking on that, that means that they want to know more about you. They want to know more about what you offer. Okay? So that means that your content is landing. Okay? So we want to just not focus on just views, because views don't always tell the full story, right? Um, I can't remember the analytic, but it was something like, or what the number was precisely. But I read this, and this was actually probably last year. But a view is if someone doesn't scroll past, particularly on Instagram, doesn't scroll past your post in like 2 or 3 seconds or something crazy like that. So very short period of time. So if they come across your post and they don't scroll immediately, then that counts as a view, right? If I'm not mistaken. If you watching this and you read something different, or that particular stat has been updated since the last time I actually tapped into it, then please feel free to correct me in the comments. But basically, views cannot necessarily views. You don't want to hang your hat on that, is what I'm saying. You don't want to hang your hat on views. You want to be able to look at a total picture. Okay, yep, people viewed it, but did they? But if you gave them a call to action to comment a certain keyword, or lend their thought to this particular post, and they did it, boom. Okay, so you know that they actually not only watched the video, but they also read the caption, and because you could know that because they actually made a comment or responded to your call to action. So this is definitely a post that not only connected and resonated, but literally invited your audience into a conversation, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So these are the type of things that we want to be really looking at. Views are great, followers are great, but as we were talking about yesterday, followers doesn't necessarily always equate to revenue, doesn't always equate to business. Okay, so followers are cool, but those other metrics, those growth metrics to pay attention to, is really letting you know, painting the picture of that. Okay, this piece of content works, this subject matter works, this format works, right? This hook, this kind of hook works. This type of caption, the way that you structured your caption, those things work. So now you have a framework that you could build a template around that you can kind of plug and play, right? And you continue to analyze it to make sure that it's still having the same type of result and the same type of engagement, right? It's not going to be exact, but at least if you continue to have good engagement on those type of posts, then you know that you got a winner. All right, here we go. How to analyze your content. Number one, check your analytics weekly. Check your analytics weekly. Identify your top 3 performing posts. Ask, what do they have in common? Okay, this is important. That is an important question. Shout out to Eric Thomas, ET the hip hop preacher. I heard him say in a speech one time, he said, you have to work on your work. You gotta work on your work. Meaning that yes, you may create something, but creating it and putting it out there is only the beginning, right? Once that is just the beginning, you still have to analyze that, and you still have to study it, and you still have to look again, study your analytics and get your data to see if it actually worked. And if it didn't work, why didn't it work? Right? Begin to ask yourself those questions. And on the flip side of that, the content that did work, okay, well, what made it work? And I personally focus most of my time on the stuff that works. The stuff that didn't work, oh well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, okay. You know what I mean? It didn't work for whatever reason. So I just know not to do that. I don't spend a whole lot of time and energy on stuff that didn't work. I focus my time, my energy on the stuff that actually worked. But even the stuff that worked, you have to analyze it. You have to study it, and you find commonalities in that type of content. Was it the same format? Was it a similar hook? Was it a similar in duration as far as time? Was it 45 seconds? Was it 30 seconds? Was it 90 seconds? Was it 3 minutes, right? What was the background? What sound did you use? All of these different things, you dissect those pieces of content to see what it was about them, that what it is about them that were similar, because clearly whatever those key components were is what actually landed with your audience. And so again, you're able to then use those same elements in content moving forward, which is going to make it a lot easier for you to create the content. And you know now, and you're more confident when you create it and post it because it's been working. So you're not guessing, you're not throwing stuff against the wall and hoping and praying that it works. But based upon your data, you know for sure that these particular piece of content works, and you work it until it don't work no more. And then you go back into the testing phase where you start to try to find where you fine tune and you try some new things, see what works, and then you check your analytics, and then you double down on what's working. Rinse and repeat. Very simple process. Very simple process. So create more content like the one or the three that worked. So create more content like that. Let the data guide you. Very simple. Very, 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 very simple. Okay. Do not ignore your data. Lastly, but certainly not least, okay, your action step. So here's what I want you to do. You got your analytics audit. Go to your analytics right now. I want you to find your top 3 performing posts for the last 30 days. Write down what they have in common. Analyze all 3 of them and write down what they have in common. Okay? Let's start there. Write down, study them, analyze them, dissect them. I mean, all the way, like I said, look at the hook, look at the audio, look at the look at the hook, look at the audio. Excuse me. Look at the hook. Look at the background. Look at the analyze the subject matter. What were you talking about? Right? How long was the video? When did you post the video? All of these things I want you to analyze and see where you find some commonalities. You'll be very surprised what you can what you're going to be able to learn from you working on your work and analyzing your data. All right. So that's all I got. That's all I got for you. All right. As always, I hope and pray that this added value to you. Comment in the comments. Hit me in the comments. I want you, if you about this life, I want you to put analytics audit done. Analytics audit done. Comment that. Drop that in the comment section. Okay. Let me know that you about that life. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, also share out this video. Connect with me on Instagram. Connect with me on TikTok. Listen, let's continue to build together. And if you want the slides from this presentation and also all 17 other presentations, let me know in the comments. I will create a space that you'll be able to go and access them. And I'm not going to charge you for it. It'll be free. You'll be able to download any slide deck that you want to have in your archive, so you can revert back to it to continue to work on things and push your content forward. All right. Love you to absolute life. Thank you so much for spending your couple minutes of your evening with me. Let me pray over you and your business and your family during this season. Father, we thank you. We love you. We praise you. We thank you for another day. I thank you for my brother and my sister on the other side of this live. I thank you that they found their way here. I thank you, and I know that they found their way here because you directed them, because you don't make mistakes, and you knew exactly what they needed in this season. So, Lord, I pray that what was taught today and what has been taught over these last 17 days, that they will be able to fortify and solidify a formula, a framework, a strategy that is going to be sustainable for them to show up consistently and confidently for their audience and be able to share their knowledge, their wisdom, and expertise, those things that you have gifted them with, and they're ready and prepared to share it with the world. I pray that you will open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing on them that they would have not room enough to receive. I pray, Lord, that they will reach their audience, that their message will resonate with their audience, that their content, Lord, will find its ears, so that this way they will be able to bring more visibility. They'll have more visibility. They'll be able to help more people. They'll be able to create community and also customers, so they can bring revenue into their businesses, and they can provide for their families, and they'll be able to also live a life that they dream of living on their own terms, and being able to do so by leveraging what you have already gifted them with. So, Lord, I pray for healing and health over themselves, over them and their families, over myself and my family. And Lord, I pray, Lord Father, that you will continue to walk with us every single step of the way. We thank you in advance for everything that you have already done. Forgive me for all of my sins and cleanse me of all unrighteousness is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, family. Appreciate you. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace.